crow watching me in my car. All right, I am at Sunset School Park, and we're gonna go out, and I'm gonna approximately show where I was for the 2001 Nisqually earthquake. It was an approximately 6.5 magnitude earthquake. Happened on 28 February 2001. I was in an assembly. It was an all-school assembly, meaning kindergarten through 6th grade, all 7 years. We seated kindergarten in front, 6th grade in back, and then seated by class, and by grade and by class. And I'll show approximately where I was on so the ground is still here. The school has been torn down, so that was Sunset Elementary School. And I was in 3rd grade. I was 8 years old, and my teacher was Miss Vidlac. And so there's an exercise class going on now in the outdoor shelter, and it's raining very, very lightly. So we'll see if I don't draw too much attention to myself. I might walk from where the earthquake happened to where we walked afterwards. So this is where I was / what I did during the 2001 Nisqually earthquake. It was called if an earthquake is large enough, they might actually name it. Fun fact. So that one was named the 2001 Nisqually earthquake because the epicenter was under Nisqually, if I'm recalling correctly. And while I'm not counting the video that I filmed in Nisqually, I think I have one of those on this YouTube channel that was actually filmed in Nisqually. I did not experience the earthquake in Nisqually itself, so this is where I experienced it. Oh no, they have music playing. Okay, well, we're gonna talk over that. Alright, and so this is my, 3rd time now coming out, and approximately footstep in through where the rooms used to be. So this was the area with so this was parking back then as well. This was the PE room, gymnasium, the gym, and then there was a sliding door that was like carpeted, and on the other side was the cafeteria. So like I was 3rd grade, so I wasn't at the front. It was an assembly. It was like some performance group was coming, and so I would have been about here and in a little ways. It's kind of office center, and they were performing, and at the beginning of the assembly they said they're gonna have sound effects and stuff like that. And so what happened is it was very different than the 4.5 magnitude earthquake yesterday, Sunday, 8 October 2023, approximately 7:21 p.m. in the Seattle area, when it was relatively quiet. The 6.8 was actually really loud. So the first thing that I heard was it sounded like hoofbeats. It sounded like horses. So I started, and it sounded like it was coming from the hallway. So I'm sitting down, and we're sitting crisscross applesauce. We're not allowed to sit on our feet, otherwise we block the view for the people behind us. So I'm sitting crisscross applesauce with my classmates and my friends in my class. And I look towards the hallway, and I'm like, where are the horses? Where are the horses? And then it just starts like shaking, and I'm looking at the hallway, and since I'm looking at something, the people around me start looking at me. And so I don't see the horses, and I'm like, the horses aren't there, but I didn't say that out loud. And I start like looking at other people, and other people are looking at me, and I'm like, why are they looking at me? I'm like, where's an authority figure? So I look, and I'm looking for somebody, and I turn, and back over here, it was kind of at a corner next to the principal, but it wasn't the principal who yelled, it was the physical education teacher, Mr. Quillis, was like, duck and cover! It was not stop, drop, and cover, which is what we were trained for in earthquake drills. But there was also duck and cover, but it was duck and cover because we were all out in the open. All right, so if the roof gave way, that would have been no good. So we were, and we had earthquake drills. I think it was weekly after the earthquake happened. But so we were instructed to duck and cover. So that was everybody got on the floor, and we put our hands over our necks. So I can't do it because I'm holding the camera with one hand. But we had our hands over our necks, and you take your hands, so I guess our arms over your neck, and then put hands over the head in case something falls and hits you. It hits the arms and the hands instead of the head and neck. And so we had fire drills and earthquake drills like every month. So we were ready in some form. And so it was shaking. It lasted a fair amount of time. There was, and then I think I think we got sent out of, well, there was the emergency procedure of get out of the building, right? Whenever there's once everything is cleared, standard security protocols are get out of the building. All right, if there's any structural damage lingering that we didn't see, you want to get out of the building, clear out of the building. So we did that, if I'm recalling correctly, and we went to our rooms. So my room was through the hallway, and then through the outdoor corridor, which I've mentioned before, and over here in the 3rd grade wing. Miss Vidlack's room was at the very end, and we went in there and they talked about sending us home early, but they ended up deciding not to because our parents were at work, and my sister and I knew my mom would be freaking out because my dad, he worked at Boeing, and he was south of Seattle, and they turned on the news and a building had fallen, and it was closer to where my dad worked. So when we were like, oh gosh, mom's gonna be freaked out. But the phone lines at Boeing got cut off, so we couldn't actually reach him when we tried to call. So I was in, so we were like, is Dad alive? Was Dad in the building that fell? Is Dad dead? And so my sister was in the big kid ring over there, and then there's like, there's a hallway that connects to where the gymnasium and the lunchroom was, and then it comes down to the 3rd grade wing. And so my sister actually came and told me that it was like checked in on me, which was like, usually that kind of stuff didn't happen. Like usually we weren't allowed to visit each other in each other's rooms during school hours, so it was a deviation from the norm in that sense that my sister came to check on me, make sure I was okay and stuff. And then we went home after, but yeah, it was scary, and my dad ended up being okay, but they did lose phone connections, and that was with landlines, right? That was a pre-age of like mass spread cell phones, so that was kind of interesting. Yeah, but if you can see it or hear maybe an earthquake coming, get out of the building so you'd have zero risk of the building collapsing on top of you. Yeah, but that was a not earthquake specific, that's fire safety protocol, and that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, this is roughly, the site. It was a different earthquake, so I'll link to my experienced earthquakes and experienced natural disasters playlist in the video description. I'll link to my video from yesterday, which I filmed approximately 13 minutes after the earthquake, the 4.5 magnitude from last night, and I'll put that link in the video description as well. Is there anything else? It was a bit different of a natural disaster for me, in the sense of we all had this like same experience, all of us in the same room together, versus like with the earthquake last night, nobody experienced it like I did because I was the only person in my room in the house, like in the house kind of thing, versus like with this, there was, what was the enrollment at the school? There were like, it's like 500 or something. So we had like, 500-600 people in one room. So we're all like in the same location. We were in a different seat, and like who we were next to was different. But like the realizing we all lived the same experience, but we all lived a different experience because of who we were sitting next to, right? And how we interacted during the earthquake. So it's like a kind of a weird thing, because like it was a huge kind of defining moment in realizing we're all the same, but we're also different, because some people, if somebody was next to a kid who was freaking out and yelling, would have a very different memory of what happened than somebody where like my friends who are sitting next to were looking at me like, what do we do, right? And I'm like, well, what's going on? Where are the horses, right? I thought it was horses until not my professor, the PE teacher was like, duck and cover, and I'm like, oh man, this is an earthquake, it's bad. And it was loud. It was different than last night. It was louder, and it was sustained loud. So like instead of like a solitary bang, okay, what was that? Was that the generator going out? It was like hoofbeats, right? Hoofbeats of horses galloping is like sustained over a distance kind of thing. So if you're not familiar with the sound of hoofbeats, only it was much, much louder. It's like thundering hoofbeats, not normal hoofbeats, kind of thing. So I should have known there was something up, but like I hadn't experienced that big of an earthquake before, and I haven't experienced that big of an earthquake since either. But that was 28 February 2001. over 22 years ago. Yeah. So there, that's a little bit about that. Is we're all the same and we're all different in situations like that, and can highlight the uniqueness of how different our experiences can be, even when we're all in the same room, kind of thing. And even if it's just what plays out after, like my sister visiting me and not knowing if dad was in that building or not, and we can't reach him because why is Boeing's phones going out? Was Boeing's phone lines actually going out, or was it a security protocol, or that kind of thing. So that's a little bit about that experience. And the name of the school was Sunset Elementary School. This is the city of Shoreline, King County, Washington State, United States of America. Happy Monday, 9 October 2023, as of filming this. Yes, and happy day of viewing whenever you're viewing this, time of viewing whenever you're viewing this, and place of viewing wherever you are viewing it from.